history doesn't disappear. It gets buried until the truth becomes too heavy to contain. Chapters 1171 and 1172 aren't about a single battle. They're about inheritance, blame, and the price of preserving peace. A king's death is finally re-examined. A lie that shaped an entire nation begins to crack. Children are taken, demons walk openly, and Elbaf is forced to choose how much it's willing to sacrifice and what it's finally ready to go to war for. This is the moment Elbaf stops enduring history and starts rewriting it. Let's break down One Piece chapters 1171 and 1172. Chapter 1171 opens at Aris Castle, in the immediate aftermath of Harald's death. Gavin makes it clear just how close the world came to total destruction. If Harald had actually escaped the castle while bound to the Depths Covenant, the entire world would have been doomed. No matter how severe his injuries were, Harald's body regenerated endlessly. Damage meant nothing. And then Gavin admits something shocking. Even with that regeneration, he never imagined that Elbaf's legendary devil fruit could permanently stop Harald. That power was beyond logic. Gavin turns directly to Jarul and asks him, "Did you know Elbaf's devil fruit was capable of this?" Jarul admits he didn't. And then he says something even darker. If Loki had not been there, the outcome would have been beyond imagination. Shanks falls into silence. His thoughts drift back to Harald in the past. Excited, hopeful, believing that becoming a Knight of God would finally allow Elbaf to join the world government and protect his people. Then another memory crashes into him. His father, Garling Figureland, a man who told him, "Just say what you want, I'll bring it to you." A man who ordered him to forget the lower world, to stop seeing its people as human beings at all. That memory ignites Shanks' rage. He grips his left arm, the one bearing Emu's mark. Gavin immediately steps in and stops him. He tells Shanks not to regret his birth, like he has done before. Shanks snaps back. But why did Harald have to die? He was too pure-hearted to deserve that. If I had warned him sooner, he wouldn't have had to die. Gabon answers calmly. "This isn't your fault." He reminds Shanks that every life has meaning, but that meaning can only be found by staying calm, not by drowning in regret. Then the chapter delivers one of its most heartbreaking moments. Loki kneels beside his father's body. He calls it a cruel joke. Unable to accept that this is how Harald's story ends, he removes his own cloak and gently covers Harald with it. And finally, Loki breaks. He cries openly, releasing all the pain and hatred he's been holding inside for years. The scene shifts to Mary Geoise. Emu meets with the five elders. Emu explains that Harald carried ancient giant blood, an extremely rare lineage. Combined with Emu's blessing, Harald gained overwhelming power in an undying body. And yet, he still died. Emu questions how this was even possible. What exists in Elbaf? As Emu speaks, something disturbing becomes clear. Emu looks exhausted, as if Harald's death caused backlash even to Emu himself. Mars suggests investigating the abyss Harald created. Emu immediately refuses. Doing so would only lead to the deaths of more knights. And then the terrifying truth is revealed. When Emu controls Knights of God or enforces contracts, any damage done to them causes backlash to Emu directly. Which means Loki's devil fruit isn't just dangerous, it's a direct threat. Even to Emu. Its effects reach all the way to Mary Geoise. Emu acknowledges Harald's strength, but condemns his mindset. Harald was born from savage, war-driven blood, yet tried to live among humans and connect Elbaf with the world. Emu states it plainly, "Elbaf and us were never meant to coexist." Then comes the chilling line, "Never forget, Elbaf is tied to D." A line that heavily implies deep connections between Elbaf, the Will of D, Joy Boy, and possibly even Davy Jones. Mysteries clearly being set up for a future Void Century reveal. We return to Aris Castle. In the throne room, Loki meets with the survivors, Gavin, Shanks, Jarul, and the remaining guards. Jarul warns Loki that Harald's death will cause unrest across Elbaf. Loki responds calmly. He says he'll go out to sea with the surviving guards, to take revenge for Harald. Jarul reminds him of Harald's final wish, tell the truth. Loki refuses. He declares that no one alive will ever hear what truly happened here. Jarul warns him, the people will blame you. Loki doesn't hesitate. I'm used to it. He admits he doesn't believe he can carry Harald's ideals, but that doesn't mean he won't protect Elbaf his own way. Jarul warns him not to attack the world government head on. They're too vast. Gavin and Shanks say nothing. Because no words can ease Loki's pain. Loki leaves Elbaf. His journey isn't shown. The flashback ends with Loki accepting the role history will give him, the killer. We return to the present timeline. Loki finishes telling his story. He explains to Hadrudin that by the time he returned home, all of Elbaf blamed him for killing Harald. He never denied it, he never bragged about it, he only wanted to preserve what Harald fought for. He took all the blame to protect his father's legacy. Hadrudin listens in silence. Gavin confirms that everything Loki said is true. Hearing this, Hadrudin finally understands why Jarul kept delaying Loki's execution all this time. Their true enemy was never Loki, it was the world government. Hadrian admits something painful. Their father chose death over being manipulated by the world government, and ever since then, the world government has been Elbaf's enemy, though he still does not know how they controlled Harald. Gavin adds that the new knights played a role in Harald's story, but Loki still does not know the full details. Unlike Gavin offers to explain everything to Hadrian. Hadrian declines for now. He says he needs no reason to protect his homeland. Hadrian personally removes Loki's cuffs. He acknowledges that they both loved Harald. He apologizes for not realizing that sooner and asks Loki to help him fight for their homeland. And now, they will fight for Elbaf together. Luffy is overjoyed. He says, "Way to go, Loki! Now you can fight!" Suddenly, one of Killingham's MMAs, resembling a Draugr, falls from the Sun World down into the underworld. Everyone is stunned, but Loki smiles. He calls it the perfect warm-up and tells Hadrian to go ahead. He'll fly up later. Hadrian gets on board with his crew and all 5 of them apologize to Loki for believing he killed Harald in cold blood. Hadrian admits he hasn't forgiven Loki for his other crimes, but this one, he understands. Loki replies, "Just shut up and go. No one asked you to say all of this." And then, Loki feels relief. For the first time, he is free. Gavin tells Chopper that he is grateful for helping him, but he is worried about Colin. Chopper agrees to accompany him back up with help from Sanji. Meanwhile, Luffy jumps onto Loki's shoulder. Loki asks what he's doing. Luffy grins. "I want to see how you fight." Loki accepts. Leaping into the air, Loki calls out to Ragnar. With a single swing, he completely freezes the MMA. Luffy is left speechless. This isn't just a power reveal. This is the moment Loki stops being a curse and becomes a weapon the world isn't ready for. The chapter ends here. Chapter 1172 opens with Sanji escorting Gavin and Chopper to the lift as they head up to meet Zoro and the new giant warrior pirates. As the lift ascends from the underworld toward the Sun World, Gavin explains the full situation. There are 3 enemies. Their mission is to kidnap 10 giant children and transport them to Mary Geoise. Those children will be used as hostages. Living shields meant to force Elbaf to submit to the world government as nothing more than battle slaves. Hearing this, Hadrian is shaken. He asks Gavin how 3 humans were allowed to run rampant over the giant warrior pirates. Gavin apologizes. He says there are no excuses, they failed. Sanji then asks the most important question, how are they even moving 10 giant children all the way to the Holy Land? Gavin explains each enemy one by one. Gunko, she uses arrows that force movement. The children are compelled to walk in the direction she chooses. Their destination is the Western Village port. A ship is waiting there. If the children reach it, they're gone forever. Road asks why they can't simply grab the children and pull them away. Gavin explains why. Summers has eaten the Iba no Mi. He has wrapped the children in invisible thorn vines. The thorns are as hard as steel. Giants can't pick up the children without injuring themselves. If anyone interferes, the children will bump into each other and be torn apart by the thorns. Summers can crush them instantly if needed. Lastly, the final member is the most terrifying. He can manifest nightmares as living creatures. Right now, he has summoned the children's nightmares. These creatures are rampaging across Elbaf. They exist solely to stop any rescue attempt. Because of this twisted game, the children are being marched away in broad daylight and no one can intervene. Despite everything, Hadrian refuses to give up. He declares that no matter the circumstances, they will save the children. Gavin agrees. Their only option is to subdue the Holy Knights directly. Goldberg adds that even if the Knights claim to be immortal, there are still ways to stop them, trapping them, crushing them, or even devouring them if necessary. The lift reaches the Sun World. The moment they arrive, everyone is left speechless. The land is in ruins. The MMAs are rampaging everywhere. On top of that, they see the Great Eric burning. Gavin confirms it was destroyed by the MMAs. Suddenly, Kashi appears, badly injured. Hadrian immediately asks him what's going on. Kashi delivers devastating news. Dory and Brogy, now demonized, are on their way to kill Elder Jarul. As for the children, Ripley and her group are chasing after them, but no confirmation has come back yet. Kashi then turns to Road and reveals something personal. Bjorn Road's younger brother is one of the hostages. Road completely loses control and runs off to save him. Garrett and Goldberg follow him immediately. Sanji asks Kashi where the school is, knowing Nami's group should be nearby. Kashi points to the burning building in the distance. That's the school. Kashi urges everyone to hurry. Jarul's life is in immediate danger. A map is shown displaying everyone's positions. The school and library are burning. The Straw Hats are restrained by Gunko's arrows. Robin is devastated, watching the library burn. Brook is missing. He apparently got an idea and slipped away on his own. Ripley's group is almost at the port. Demonized Dory and Brogy continue marching toward Jarul, ignoring all attempts to stop them. At the village, Giants beg Jarul to flee. He refuses. He has something to say to all of Elbaf. Using a Den Moshi, Jarul addresses the entire nation. He reveals the truth behind King Harald. Harald wanted Elbaf to coexist peacefully with the world. He sought to join the world government, but on that day, 14 years ago, the world government betrayed him and denied his wish. Jarul declares, Harald and his soldiers were killed by a demon because he refused to submit. This revelation shocks Elbaf. They realize the truth. Loki did not kill King Harald. Jarul explains why he stayed silent all these years. If he had spoken earlier, Elbaf would have erupted into war, something Harald never wanted. It was Loki who chose to shoulder the people's hatred. He took the blame and left for the sea. Jarul announces clearly, despite Loki's violent nature and crimes, he is innocent of Harald's death. Zoro and Hasrudin privately acknowledge that this forgiveness may be more than Loki deserves. An epic panel shows the three holy knights. Jarul continues, 3 new demons now stand on Elbaf. He addresses them directly. He says, if giving up our culture and history could save our children, we would do it. But you are mistaken if you think you can break Elbaf's spirit. The giants are not as patient as Harald was. Jarul tells the children to cover their ears. Then he declares, if the world truly must be split in two, Elbaf will proudly declare war on the world government. Their powers will not break them. He calls the giants proud warriors and orders them to protect the peace Harald died for. The giants roar in response and charge forward. After that speech, Hasrudin, Stanson, and Zoro reach the demonized giants. Hasrudin warns, if we get caught between them, we'll turn into monsters ourselves. Zoro doesn't hesitate. He smirks and says, don't worry, I've got a plan. And with that, chapter 1172 ends. And just like that, Elbaf crosses the line it can never return from. Chapters 1171 and 1172 don't bring closure. They bring clarity. The truth behind Harald's death is finally spoken. The burden Loki carried alone is finally understood, and Elbaf is forced to face its enemy without illusions. But clarity doesn't mean safety. The children are still in danger, the Holy Knights are still advancing, and war is no longer a distant possibility, it's a decision. Loki didn't become Elbaf's hero, he became its shield, the one the world will curse so his people don't have to. Because from this moment on, Elbaf isn't asking to coexist, it's preparing for war. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep that fire burning, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.